It is rare that cows give birth to twins, but when they do, it become life-threatening for the owner. I'm Joana, and it's time to uncover another Africa's untold stories. In old Benin Kingdom, some believe that cows give birth to twins were harbingers of bad luck, and they must be banned alongside with their owners. Also, they will be declared an enemy of the king, the Oba. So fascinating how humans give meanings to things, right? Well then, something changed, and this is our story for today. On one Ekende, what is Ekende? Wait, Ekende is the last day of a 5-day week for the Edos. The Edos are the people of Benin. So there was no labor, it was all self-care, home grooming, and rest. The Iyase of Benin, then the Iyase Noheme, rested on that Ekende. But as he was resting, he decided that he wants to make an offering. So he told the servants to choose a cow and place it in the ogbore of his house. What is ogbore? Ogbore, this is like a fenced space in the compound of a nobility, a chief, duke, and a well-to-do person in the Benin Empire. To access the main house, you needed to pass through the ogbore, but it also served several purposes. For example, it had a social, political, and cultural relevance in society. Meetings were held there. Sometimes when you see like African elders grouped together under a tree deliberating, sometimes it could be happening in the ogbore of the house. Another relevance was more political. So if a citizen fled the Oba's judgment and was able to escape the royal guards, the moment that fugitive stepped into the ogbore of a chief of Benin, that's a duke, he was in a safe space and under the protection of that duke, at least for a while. So somewhat like the embassies in foreign countries. So much to Africa had no system of governance, right? It was then the duty of that duke who owns the ogbore where the fugitive is to go and meet the Oba on behalf of that fugitive to plea or negotiate, since the fugitive is now under the protection of that duke. It's not complicated. Just think of it like it's an embassy. So the ambassador right now, being the duke, will go and negotiate on behalf of the fugitive. So if the fugitive is still going to be condemned because justice demands it, then the duke will arrange that that person goes voluntarily and stands before the king's justice. Now, there was a lot of explanation and convincing to be done when it comes to that kind of situation. So in this particular Ekende, Iyase Noheme ensured that his servants went to select the best cow for an upcoming offering he wanted to make. Before Iyase Noheme would even start his offering, a message that he should attend a royal council, this specific one was a judicial council, was delivered to him. Actually, Iyase Noheme had his own Ekende plan. Now, should he now abandon his plans and go to the palace? Well, he had no option. So he took some of his young sons and servants and they journeyed to the palace. When he arrived at the palace, other lower rank chiefs, they were already seated, lined up in 2 rows in the Oba Ozulua Hall. So that Oba Ozulua Hall was where they had like public meetings and events was held there. Now, this is around the early 19th century, during the reign of Oba Osemede. The Oba Osemede is the father of Oba Adolo. Oba Osemede's story is so juicy because he literally killed his own brother to claim the throne, but that is a story for another day. Back to our story about the twinning cows. As Iyase Noheme approached the hall towards the Oba, all lower rank chiefs hailed him with contentment, respect, several greetings like Ezeveki, meaning the lord of the rivers and the market. So this made reference to his wealth as the Iyase rank, like a high rank chief. Now, upon reaching an appropriate distance to the throne to approach and talk to the Oba, Iyase Noheme went on his nails, respectfully showered greetings to the Oba as was done. He got up, rubbed his palms together and asked for blessings. That's how it was done. The judicial council, they were ready to begin since he was around. He actually came late now, but since he was around. So the issue at hand was that a prisoner was brought from another town within the kingdom. So what was the offense of the prisoner? He owned a twinning cow. His cow had given birth to twin calves. Now, by this time, I'm sure Iyase Noheme would have wished he had done his own offering at home before coming. Another banishment of a citizen for such offense again. Having twins babies for humans is normal, but some people in towns and villages within the kingdom, they see things differently. They did not find it a good thing if other animals had twins, probably due to maybe it's going to cost more to cater for the twinning calves later, or was it just a superstitious belief? Now, the irony is that if that prisoner was to be exiled from his community, the twinning cow and the calves will still be brought to the Oba as royal property. Some dukes, they've already made their own judgment. They urged the palace to follow the wishes and the beliefs of the town from which the prisoner came from. They wanted, the people of his community wanted him banished. So these other dukes were like, please, this is what they practice there. Let us allow them continue their practice. What does this tell you about the style of governance? I will leave this for you to drop your comments and thoughts on it. Now, what would Iyase Noheme, what would his judgment be? My team and I enjoy creating great content and stories for you. So please support us by hitting that subscribe button. It is your free contribution to help us grow this platform. Iyase Noheme stood up and he began his defense. So this is like a court now. He's actually now a lawyer for someone, a defense attorney for someone that he doesn't even know. He stated that livestock is property. So if the cow in one town had just one cow, the other another town with a cow that gave birth to 2 calves is definitely wealthier in terms of property, isn't it? That was his opinion. So that means this person brought great luck. The owner of the cow. The owner of the cow, now the prisoner, has actually brought more value to the town than other owners of cows who just gave birth to 1 cow. So this prisoner has done nothing to bring ill fortune. Instead, he has brought prosperity. Hence, the twinning cow, of course, remains the property of the royal house, including their twin calves. But the owner, the prisoner now, deserves the favor of the queen rather than banishment. That was what Iyase Noheme suggested. Now, the Oba quickly saw reason and declared the Iyase's judgment as fair and final. All hail the king, and the prisoner was happy because now he's under the favor of the Oba. It was a long day. That was not how Iyase Noheme wanted to spend his Ekende. It was already dark, and Ekende, like I said earlier, was like a resting day and wanted to make his offering, right? So he ended up spending it in the Royal Judicial Council at the palace. So since it was already dark, when he was on his way home with his young son and the servants, they saw that they needed light. So they took their own sticks wrapped with palm leaves and then used it to take light from the gogoro lamp that was placed before the palace and along the streets. Iyase Noheme journeyed back home with his sons and his servants. Now, this is where it gets really, really interesting. Very happy. Now he was like, even though he's like, let me just do this offering today, because the next day now he might have to walk again and go to his farm. As he got to his own Ogbore, he saw a large group of his household people anxiously waiting for him. The cow which he told them to tie up in the morning before he went to the palace had given birth. Guess what? You already know. Yes, the cow gave birth to twins. He was so shocked. He turned his back that night and he was like, I'm heading to the palace. At this junction, I will let you imagine the story to the end. Was he not lucky? He had used his common sense earlier. Imagine if he had said, yes, you have to exile that person, you have to banish that person. It would have been his turn. Somehow I feel this story has many lessons. My mom told me this story and I read it in details again, several books. So I hope you enjoyed this session. So share, like, drop your comments. I'm Joadri.